The principal walked up to him and asked him, "Are you a student here?" He replied, "No," and the principal asked him to leave. He refused and started arguing with the principal. Welcome back, guys. It's nice to see you again. Did your grandpa ever have to defend your grandma against your uncles? Or did your family break up, never to talk to one another again because of you? Well, if you'd like to hear my story, then keep on watching. So my story takes place back in 2011, 2012, in a small town with even a smaller school, with even less diversity. So when a new student joined that school, who was unlike the others, they got a lot of attention. And they were in a lot of my classes, and they sat by me. We eventually became friends, and then began dating. And that's where my story begins. We dated for about a year and a half. I don't remember a whole lot that went on between that year or so. I basically blacked out. The only stories that I remember, besides just a handful that I remember experiencing myself, my friends and my mother told me about them. I basically disassociated myself from the whole situation. He would flirt, kiss other girls. He would break up with me just to watch me cry or get upset. He would berate me. He would mentally abuse me. He would make me feel less than dirt. He was a year older than I am, and so was my cousin. So they graduated the same year, and then I graduated the following year. So at this time, graduation rolled around, so I had a graduation party for my cousin. We both attend. He left 20 minutes into it to attend a different graduation party without me. He didn't even invite me, and I guarantee he probably cheated on me multiple times at that party. That's nor here or there. My memory is still kind of hazy, but that does kind of begin the downfall of everything. He kept saying he wanted to join the military. I obviously wanted him to stay, and he kept saying, no, I'm going to join the military no matter what, which, all the power to him. He needs to do what he wants to do. But I kept wanting to get married. Eventually, not now, but I did want to get married one day. He kept telling me no, which I respect. Not everyone has to get married, but that's what I wanted. So eventually we did break up. He came over to my house one night and ended it with me, which I thought that part was respectful. He actually broke up with me in person and not over a phone call or text. So I give him credit for that. So things ended. I tried to be civil with him. I tried being friends. He was very resistant to that, which I agree. I was just being foolish. I didn't want to let things go. But eventually we did separate ways. I began dating other people. He would call, text me. He'd be crying. He'd be so emotional. Other times he would start fights with me. Sorry, my doorbell just rang. Excuse me one moment. I got a delivery. I'm so sorry. Okay, where were we? So I began dating other people. He would call me, text me. He would pick fights with me, whatever he could do to get my attention, honestly. And at first I kind of played along with it, but ultimately I started dating my now husband at the time, and I blocked communications with him. But he didn't stop there. He tried sleeping with all my friends. I was graduated at this time. So was my cousin, and so was he. But my other friend, she was still in high school. And my ex, he went back to the school and had lunch with the students there. Mind you, they're underage. He is not. The principal walked up to him and asked him, "Are you a student here?" He replied, "No," and the principal asked him to leave. He refused and started arguing with the principal. Who does that? That is beyond creepy. And my friend had to witness the whole thing go down. Later, my other friend, who was graduated for some time, texted me saying, "Oh, hey, I ran into your cousin and your ex today in the park." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And she mentioned that they were dating and asked me, "You didn't know that?" And I was like, no. As far as I knew, and the other portion of the family thought she was single. She had a child at the time with a not so good man. We'll just say that. So we thought she was just, being a mommy, just, working and taking care of her kid. But she She was dating my ex, my sloppy second, so enjoy that. But anyways, my friend told me that she saw them at the park together, and I went ballistic. I took it to Facebook, and you may ask, how do you know your family didn't know that they were dating? Well, my family at the time held a lot of holiday gatherings, and we were very active as a family. So we were always asking questions. Oh, who you're dating? How's your job going? Blah blah blah. So everyone was well aware, and my grandpa always asked her, "Oh, are you dating anyone, or how's that going?" And she would always be like, "No, not right now," and so on, so on. Everyone was under the impression that she was just a single mommy, which there's no shame with that, but that's just what everyone thought. She was just working and doing her thing. And I went to Facebook. I will admit I was emotionally immature. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was some form of just basically saying like, now I know you betrayed me or something like that. And then her mother, my cousin, said, let her have this. You have a perfect family yourself, and just word salad, just word throw up, honestly. Word vomit. Just be happy for her, basically. And they knew, at least my cousin knew, how mentally abused he was. So her dating him was a shock to me, because you don't think he's gonna do that to you? This is how he was. He went to a high school with underage children to mingle with them, which is so inappropriate, but you don't think he's going to do this to you, or who knows what else to you. But she did that, and I responded to the message from her mother saying, I haven't, nor will I ever do anything of that sort to my cousin ever. I would never dream of hurting my family member in such a way. So I can't believe that she would do that to me. And then the other aunts got involved, and it was a total show. So Aunt 1, my cousin's mother, and then my Aunt 2, just a separate party from all of this that had nothing to do with this, decided to add her comments as well, saying, basically, get over it. So then my mom defended me against my Aunt 2, saying, this has nothing to do with any of you guys. Let me and my cousin sort it out and, hashed it out. She disagreed, and they had numerous phone calls back and forth saying, basically, F you. It was just back and forth. So that's that with them. Then later, they would have gatherings without us, and then start saying how my grandparents chose me over them, and my grandparents loved me more than the other cousins and children in the family, which was totally not true. But my mom was a single parent. My other cousins both had a mother and father growing up. I didn't. So yeah, I did have a little bit more attention from my grandparents because they felt sorry for me, okay? Let me fucking have that. Ugh. But anyways, so that's where they were coming from. So they got after my grandparents. And I don't remember a whole lot of this. Like I said, it happened many years ago, and I kind of disassociated myself from this. I kind of blacked out, but I would have my mom add more. But like I said, I don't want to add too much detail to this to where people that don't want to be acknowledged get recognized. So I don't want to start that. But since they were going after my grandparents, they decided to confront my grandma in person. So the uncles, I'm sure, were being fed lots of lies from their aunts, I'm assuming, because why else would they go after my grandma? But either way, they decided to make a trip to my grandma's house and confront her in a very hostile way. And my grandpa had to step in and physically threaten them and threaten them with the cops and, a physical altercation if they didn't they didn't stop, if they didn't back off. So that was very unfortunate that happened. And since everyone was well aware of what was happening now, and she knew that I knew now, she decided to post a picture on Instagram with my ex and her child playing with some stupid caption. I screenshotted it, but obviously for, safety purposes and confidentiality, I'm not going to show that to you, but I still have it to this day. But why? It's more of just like a receipt, I just want to have that, so yeah, no one can deny it or anything, but saying, how happy and stuff they were. And I kind of took that to a slap in the face a little bit. So my grandparents were thrusted basically in the middle of all of this. And my cousin that got with my ex, her sister was coming into town and said that she would, see my grandparents and show love towards them basically. But when she finally came into town, she only saw her mother and her sister, that part of the family, and posted it on Facebook. And then my grandma saw it and commented something along the lines of, now I see that we're not part of the family anymore, or something along the lines of that. Which pissed off the sister extremely, to the point where she texted my grandma a threatening message saying, now you have to apologize to me, or some form of that. Which was so left field, because you said you were going to see them, and then you came into town, you posted pictures saying, this is my family, I love them so much, and then you dipped, went back to wherever she lives, and then posted it on Facebook. And then my grandma was like, I thought we were okay, I thought we, and then she left. And then my grandma was very hurt, because she's obviously caught in the middle, but she still wants to be in your life. And you say basically F you in a text message and other things, and demand an apology when you basically started that situation with my grandma. But whatever. I don't know why everyone felt the need to involve themselves when it was just between my cousin and I. Yeah, we probably would never have talked again because I was very hurt, but at least let us handle this situation. There was no reason besides maybe my mom and her mom to get involved. Everyone else should have minded their own goddamn business. I know my second aunt, the one that wasn't the mother to my cousin, I know she had previous issues with my mom, but that had nothing to do with this. So why involve yourself in this was beyond me. It was funny because at the time, my cousin that enjoyed my sloppy seconds worked at the hospital, and I had my baby at that time. And she ran into my mom and grandma, and she said that they had a pleasant exchange back and forth, but basically ultimately she said that it probably wasn't a good idea for her to go up and see me. And my mom was like, yeah, probably not the best right now. And it's just like, I know at that time a year or two had passed or whatever, I can't remember the timeline exactly, but some time had passed. But it's still like, I don't know, it was just something. And that kind of concludes the big events that happened, besides probably a couple things I've forgotten. And you can probably guess that they didn't last very long. Like, I've seen him at the fair with a group of very young children, so that was bothersome. I'm not trying to accuse him of anything, but you go into a school that you don't attend that have underage children there, and just the things I've seen, I'm worried that one day you might end up in prison. But I dodged a bullet. My cousin dodged a bullet. But I'm just glad I figured out what had transpired when it did, because keeping someone like that in your life that's willing to do that to you, who knows what else they're capable of. And now I don't blame her. She was going through her own issues in life, but you didn't have to drag me into it. I literally had done nothing to her at that point that I know of. I don't know. I don't even know, because we were so close growing up, and we would spend the night at each other's houses all the time. I can't believe it's hard to fathom someone that close to you would hurt you that bad. But that's my brief little summary of the story. And I don't hold any ill will towards anyone. I could care less. I'm happy, I'm stable, I'm with the family that loves me, and I hope the best for them too. Like, even though the things happen the way they did, I don't blame anyone, because besides my ex, because who knows what he said to her. He was trying to get with all of my exes, so who knows what he told her. So, and I mean, I know that doesn't excuse her actions, believe me. I don't, but I'm not angry anymore. I thought I would just come on here and tell you as like a video diary or like therapy for myself. But I wish everyone involved a happy life. And I think that's everything for now. Alrighty, I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!